The Memphis Grizzlies offseason article is now up on ESPN.com. Memphis was eliminated by Golden State in a tough 6 games here. And, it's funny when we put these articles out, and I said it, in the first round after I think Toronto lost, you just get that uncomfortable feeling when a team competes their tails off, especially without Ja Morant. And now you got to basically put an obituary on their season and kind of what to look forward to. And the game is barely 5 minutes over. But as anybody who's followed me, those are the rules when we talk about these off-season articles here. And I think with Memphis, when I wrote their off-season article a year ago, after they had lost to Utah in the first round and certainly had beaten Golden State in the play-in, my big question was that this Grizzlies team was built the right way, right? Through the draft, through trades, through free agency, a little bit of both. They've built it the right way. And my question was that good enough to take that next step? Would a healthy Jaren Jackson Jr., another year of Ja Morant, the continued development of, Dillon Brooks and Tyus Jones, DeAnthony Melton, that group there, it's Desmond Bane, of course, was that good enough? And it was. When you look at 56 wins, tied a franchise record, getting out of the first round against an inexperienced but feisty Minnesota team that didn't know how to close games. You look at the second round against Golden State, an opportunity to win game 1 at home. You win game 2. Certainly the Ja Morant injury, the failure to capitalize in game 4, all learning experiences here. And then you look at, winning game 5 at home in a blowout, and then, basically, a tied game, with 6 or 7 minutes left, and then we saw the Golden State 2016 version all of a sudden rear its head, and this roster is, as I say, it's built for sustainable success. This roster is good. Now it's going to be about kind of taking that next step, and is there another piece out there that needs to be added here? Or do we get another year of a healthy Ja, Jaren Jackson? We'll see what they do with Dillon Brooks and Steven Adams, who are about to go into the last year of their contract. They've got $29 million of expiring deals here. Desmond Bane has turned into, we're going to be talking about him as far as an all-star next year. The backcourt is certainly top 5 in the league here. So they've got the roster, they've got the sustainable success. Now we enter into the offseason, and they've got a lot of resources of how to improve. The first thing that's going to happen, as far as certainly the draft, as far as having 2 first-round picks, it almost was 3 with that pick from the Lakers that likely is going to be in the hands of New Orleans, unless it miraculously falls out of the top 10. I think it's like a 0.4%, which is, I think it might have a better shot of getting struck by lightning than Memphis getting that pick. But they've got 2 picks in the 20s. We've seen the track record as far as what they've been able to do in the draft. When you look at the Bane selection with the trade with Boston a few years ago, Ja was number 2. Xavier Tillman, guys who've been able to contribute. They find these players outside of the top 15 here that can kind of, guys who've been in college 3 or 4 years. They kind of know what the identity of what their roster is, and they've done it. Brandon Clark, how do I forget Brandon Clark? They know what the identity is here. So it starts with the June draft as far as the 2 picks here in the 20s. Can you maybe package them up and move into the teens, or are you content as far as where you're going to be with the roster? And then it leads to the Morant extension. He's rookie extension eligible. I'm going to pull up the article right now so I have the exact numbers here. He's rookie extension eligible. He will get a 5-year max contract. There's no sugarcoating that there. $186 million, 5 years. We'll start at $32 million. The only question will be, does Memphis concede to putting in a player option, similar to what Utah did with Donovan Mitchell, the Celtics with Jason Tatum here. That's my big concern there as far as the Morant extension. There'll be all NBA criteria in there. So basically, if he earns all NBA next year, this year has no impact. That can go from 186 to 222. So there's a big difference from 32 million to 38.4 in the first year. I mean, that's $36 million difference as far as if he earns all NBA next year. This year doesn't impact it because it's basically in the preceding season when the extension kicks in. So Luka got it because he earned back-to-back All-NBA in consecutive seasons. This will be only the first as far as with Morant. And I'm not going to go through the stats, but, I mean, basically joins Luka, LeBron, McGrady, Jordan, and Oscar as players 22 or younger that averaged 25, 5, and 5. That's some pretty heady company. My concern with Ja Morant is the durability issue, right? 38 regular season games since he entered the NBA. Missed the remaining of the playoffs after Game 3. He takes a pounding, man. He, first guard in the last 25 years to lead the league in overall paint points. We watch him. He hits the ground a lot. That is my concern as far as his body, as far as holding up. But that's the risk you take as far as when you sign these type of extensions and everything. And he's going to get the full max. It's funny. I tend not to try to listen to or read Twitter, but I went and scrolled through some comments after I put the Grizzlies article up on Friday night, and I mean, like as Stephen A. Smith said, like, stay off the weed, because there are people on there like, well, you know what? We're a better team without Ja Morant. Our defense is a lot better. Yeah, maybe your defense is better, but you need Ja Morant to, on the court for this team to be able to compete for a championship. Like, your ceiling without Ja Morant is probably a play-in team here. Maybe you take Ja Morant and you trade him and you split up and you get, man, goodness gracious. I mean, like, I know that the prisoner of the moment, and they, you want a game, 5 at home, and you're in games 4 and 6, but Ja Morant's not going anywhere. He's going to get a max contract here. And as I said, like, you had the golden opportunity in Game 4, and I was critical of Dylan Brooks. I guess he somewhat redeemed himself in Game 6. I mean, but he took 28 shots to get 32 points here. So, but Morant's going to be the next decision. Rookie max, all NBA criteria, 186, can go to 222. The big thing will be now is if there is going to be a player option in that 5th year. The second thing that now you move on to is the free agency of 2 key free agents in Tyus Jones and Kyle Anderson. Jones is a priority. I mean, you saw the record as far as with him in the lineup, like 20 and 5. The ability, I know he struggled in Game 6, did not shoot the ball well. I think 2 for 12. Played extremely well in Games 4. He's a starting point guard in this league here. Here's a stat for you: 7 assist to turnover ratio this year. First player since 77 and 78 to do that. He also did it in 2018-19. I mean, he's like your NFL backup quarterback, Aaron Rodgers backing it, Brett Favre in Green Bay, where you know what you're going to get. He is steady. Is he going to go out and give you 30 like Morant's going to be? No, but he can run a team. He can be a starting guard for a lot of teams in this league. The challenge becomes as far as what the available money will be for him to go out and sign for more than the $10.3 million exception. There'll be suitors out there, and certainly he is a priority for Memphis. They can sign him to an extension, 4 years, $55 million up until June 30th. We'll see if that happens or if he just kind of hits free agency and he comes back. I think the best thing for Jones in Memphis is like a 2-year, $30 million contract that allows him to kind of go out in free agency in 2 years from now. Keeps the books fine for for Memphis, stay under the tax this year. They'll be fine next year, even with the Morant extension coming in. Remember, Brooks comes off, Steven Adams comes back. But Tyus Jones is certainly a priority. We'll see what happens with Kyle Anderson. You have Zaire Williams, the rookie who had really good moments in this Golden State series, for the guy to basically just throw out there, and you think he's going to have kind of a deer in the headlights here. But draft, Morant, Tyus Jones. Listen, Memphis can create $20, $22 million. I love talking about cap space. Cap space is fool's gold. They know what their identity is. They know what their DNA is, how this front office has been built. They're going to operate over the cap. Likelihood is you bring Tyus Jones back. You still got your $3 million mid-level exception. You've got your biannual. I mean, you have 12 players already under contract, not including your 2 first-round picks in Jones and Anderson. So there's going to have to be a little bit of a balancing of the roster. And as I said, you do have trade assets in Brooks and Steven Adams. I mean, you got a ton of guys that are extension eligible. I mean, the list is on and on and on. I mean, besides Morant, 7 players. Brandon Clark, rookie extension eligible. Keep an eye out. Played extremely well in the playoffs here. As far as does he get extended before the start of the season? I don't see Dylan Brooks getting extended. DeAnthony Melton, John Concher, Tillman Sr., Xavier Tillman, Steven Adams. I think the extensions will be Morant, and certainly we'll keep an eye on Brandon Clark as we get closer to the regular season. But I've been one of the Grizzlies' biggest cheerleaders here. I mean, they built this roster the right way. Zach Kleiman, who earned front office executive of the year, and his group there have done it the right way. They are patient. They know who they are. There's a reason why they ranked number 1 in the future power rankings, because they check off all the boxes as far as how they've drafted, the roster, cap flexibility, ownership, being able to give them the resources here. And they've got plenty of resources when you look at, as I said, 2 picks this offseason. They've got a Golden State pick in 2 years. They've got all their own firsts. So there are things out there for them to continue to improve, or do they just kind of rely on what they have right now? But it is good to be a Grizzly fan, although you are going home and the offseason has started here, because the future of this team is extremely bright.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.